I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
And this is LEPROUS. I don't think we've done LEPROUS before.
I don't think so either.
This is for the big homie Scott. Did we do it? Is this the official video?
This is the link he sent, so.
Looks like the official
it does
video.
Look like
okay,
official,
we'll do it. It's okay.
Sometimes, you never know. Sometimes they don't get blocked, so.
Okay, so if you're new to the channel, which shout out to all our new subscribers, we love you and appreciate you. Welcome aboard the village! Which that phrase is going to mean a lot more very soon. New surprises coming up. Okay, so what happens is if you look at other reaction channels, you should, because all the other reaction channels are great. You'll see that they'll cut up the video like in between. They'll stop it every 20, 30 seconds or so. That might annoy you, dear listener, but the reason they do that is actually a very smart reason.
So YouTube doesn't annoy them.
Correct, because if you listen to the song straight through like we do, then you get a little box like this. It comes up and it basically says all that money you made on the advertisement that you saw before, which is probably some horrible political campaign, all the money that you were supposed to get is actually now going to the record label, okay? So what they do is they cut it up, and they do that because then they don't get one of those notifications and they're able to listen to they're able to collect what they deserve. Now, we don't cut up the track, and so what happens is, in 99% of our videos, you see that little thing pop up, and they say, hey, we're taking your money, and that's okay, because we offset it by Patreon, right? That's when the whole Patreon idea came up. We say, hey, everybody, you know, if somebody pitches in $1 a month, we got 10,000 subs at the time, we'll be okay. So that's how we make our money, we'll do it on Patreon. So, that's fine. The problem is, when you do an official video, and you play it all the way through, it gets blocked, which means you don't even get to see it. So, we're hoping that we'll be able to watch this official video without it getting blocked. Hopefully, LEPROUS isn't that massive of a band to where the record label will do that.
If it gets blocked, I'll try to put a lyric video in there, or just, the link will be in the description for the exact video that we listen to, so you can just follow along that way. But sorry if it doesn't line up perfectly. We do what we can. We can't predict the future, though.
Now, Scott chose the Fast Pass option, which is you pay 125 bucks, it sends you straight to the head of the line. You can do that on Patreon, or you can do that via PayPal, vinandsorimerch@gmail.com. If you do it on PayPal, it goes faster because the money goes directly there, whereas if you do it on Patreon, it's a pledge and then it gets recycled every month. There we go. I'm going to listen to this song now.
So April 21st, he had sent this to us, and then he said that his birthday was on Thursday. So I'm guessing April 23rd. Actually, that's my mom's birthday. So happy birthday, Scott.
And that's a week before Orion's birthday.
Yep.
So happy birthday, Scott. Love you, buddy. Sorry we're a bit late. Let's go.
And here we go. Wow.
Whoa.
That was really good.
I thought LEPROUS was like a death metal band.
This is not what I expected at all.
Yeah.
At all.
I thought they were they're back from Norway.
And what type of music is this?
It says they're progressive. Avant-garde, alternative. Okay, so I made a mistake. They're not a death metal band. They're avant-garde, alternative, whatever you want to call them. Progressive. Which this did have a kind of a progressive feel to it. I was definitely not expecting that
high part, man.
the high part.
I love it when people just like no fear, just go. I think that a lot of people can go a lot further with their voice, but they just don't want to push themselves because, you know, it's hard and it can crack and it can be weird and like
Yeah.
I love the sound of you pushed yourself to the edge.
Yeah, it's so amazing to me how Judas Priest like prepared me for other band. Like I
yeah,
think
you're right.
I think if it wasn't for Judas Priest, then you know, particularly Halford, right? Like if it wasn't for Halford,
Yeah.
like fitting that type of high note into metal
Yeah.
and getting me acclimated to it, I think I would have like definitely not been able to appreciate this, you know, the last, you know, third of this song because
Yeah.
he went.
Well, there was something.
He went
There's
Halford
something
there.
shocking, or at least initially when we listened to him, to Judas Priest.
Yeah.
There was something shocking about a male vocal going that high.
Yeah.
And so
Yep,
I
yep.
didn't have a category for that.
Yeah.
And so it was a definite no. When you look at Painkiller, our first reaction to Painkiller, like we hated it.
I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand the high
Yeah.
whatever. And then we listened to like, it was crazy because the Priest fans kept going, which I
know, yeah.
Thank them for their patience.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see, like, there are certain groups that if you don't like their song, they're like, "Wah!"
Yeah.
But they stuck around. I think they knew he was great, and they just knew we needed more time.
Yeah.
Like I said in the other video, what ended up happening was I said to my mother, I said, I gotta show you the worst song. You're not gonna believe this guy's vocals. And so I pulled it up, and I started playing it for her, and I kept waiting for it to get to the horrible vocals. And then the end of the song came, and I looked at her, and she looked at me because she liked it.
Yeah.
And I was so confused. I'm like, this is the weirdest thing. I've completely changed on this, and I actually like this song now. And then I played it for Vinny. The same thing happened to him. Anyway, so
Yeah.
back to this song.
Yeah. Well, it just how dependent the newer bands are, just in general.
Yeah.
How dependent they are on the people that went
Yep.
before them. It's the same thing that happens
Yeah.
every time I hear I Only Play some, you know, Black Sabbath song from 50 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's...
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a second. I remember that riff. Thievery. All right, continue. Go ahead.
So this was interesting. I actually thought of Seven Dusted when this song started.
Really?
Yeah, Seven Dusted he's one of our villagers, and right now he's in Afghanistan, and he's stuck there until August.
It's August now?
Yeah, it just got pushed out because of the COVID-19 stuff, and I feel bad for his family and for him and for his daughter and his wife. It's just sad. And so it said, when I'm far from home, I feel blurry. Where my weight is gone, there is nothing. Whenever I go wrong, I hear the same old song, voices from below, I fear it never goes away. So it really was like the first beginning, when I'm far from home, I feel blurry. Because I felt like I actually think about him a lot because he's in that situation, because I would not do well in a situation like that. Like, I don't like feeling... I mean, he's a grown man, and I'm sure that he anticipated things like this, and he's been in the military for a while, and so, like, maybe it's not as shocking. For me, it would make me feel trapped. Like, I need to get to my family, and you can't keep me away, but you can, because you signed up for it. And that's why I never joined anything like that. I just couldn't do it. But, like, a lot of people are making a lot of sacrifices, and so anyway, this part, that just made me think, you know, when he said I feel blurry, I feel like I would feel, oh gosh, you know, Orion was gone for overnight at my mom's house, and I had an extremely difficult time with that. When he got back, he did not, like, he was cool being with me, but he wanted some space because I was smothering him. And normally I try to, like, you know, he's one. I try to, like, give him his own bodily autonomy and respect that. I just couldn't. I just really needed to hug him and kiss him a lot. And so I was like trying to make a game out of it so he wouldn't get too stressed out, but I was like, I just need to keep hugging him. So, Selah used to just let me hold her for a long time when she was like little like that, but he's like, forget this, lady, I want to get around. Okay, so anyway, back to the song. So when he was talking, it seems like he's in, is this guy religious in any way? It kind of seemed like Christian because he talked about faith. And first of all, when the word faith, like every time that he said the word faith in this song, like I was like, I love that word. And it's not like, you know, there are some words that just when you say them, they're just so beautiful sounding, but it wasn't like, I don't know. It wasn't like it has a beautiful sound, but I think because the meaning behind it, like, I don't know, it goes back so far and it has such deep roots, even though, you know, my faith in some ways shook a lot, and then in other ways it was it was like unchanged underneath. So, but when he says, I was a little bit confused. Are you here?
Yeah.
Are you thinking about something that you want to talk?
Go ahead.
So when he talked about, I will alleviate, that means like to lessen suffering. All I could do was wait, laying down with my fate. Oh, he said fate. He didn't even say faith. Did you know that?
Well, it depends.
Oh, that one says faith.
Or this one says faith. That one says fate. Who knows?
Oh God, I need to know. That's an entirely different thing.
Lay down with my fate makes more sense to me than lay down with my faith, but who knows?
Okay, the official video. Sometimes they have the lyrics right underneath, so.
Go in the description, yeah?
Yeah.
No!
Curse
Go back,
you!
maybe there's an official lyric video.
Yeah. Official video.
Just type lyric.
No. No.
No what?
No, there's no official. There's no.
Try
official.
that one.
But that's not official. So this is just somebody else's.
lyrics has faith. Lyrics feed.
No, this is below. This is another song. Oh no! What is it?
Yeah. Everybody says this one says faith. Play
so most people
play
are
it
saying
again. Play it again.
That part in the song.
Yeah.
It's been all alone after.
I don't know. Looks like it sounds like faith to me.
It sounds like faith to me as well.
But yeah, everybody else is putting faith, so that's the only exception. So I'm going to go with faith. So continue.
Okay, so when he says laying down with my faith, all I could do in the end was wait. United with my fears, I'll alleviate. I was a little bit confused about that part because is he saying that he will lessen his sufferings because he lays down with his faith? And his faith is what causes him to, that's what alleviates some of his suffering? That's what kind of it was to me. Like there's some situations where you have to make it through to the other side. And sometimes, you know, like people will say, well, time heals all wounds. I don't believe that time heals all wounds. I believe that God heals your wounds and that it takes time for that healing to take place. For instance, I don't think that just out of nowhere, people are going to say, well, it's your body that if you get a paper cut, it's your body that does that. Well, God set up your body to do that. So,
Right.
but it takes time. It's not going to heal immediately. It's going to, you're going to have a couple days. Take the Band-Aid off at night. That makes it go faster.
I didn't know that. Is that true?
Yeah. Because if it's all covered, then it's all mushy and you got to let it dry out.
Okay.
If it starts getting too dry, then you put some Neosporin in it so it won't crack.
The more you know, ladies and gents.
That's because I'm a mom. Anyway, so like there are some situations that you can't fast forward your way through. So there was this old story that my mother used to tell me, and I might have the story all mixed up, but I'm going to get the basic gist. There was a golden ball with a silver cord, and there was this boy, and this person came up, I don't know, probably with some, I don't know, some sort of a witch or something, gave him this ball, and she said, anytime that you want to fast forward time a bit, just pull the silver cord a little bit. So the kid's in school and he's like sitting through math class. He's like, oh, I just want this day to be over. And so he reaches down to the silver ball, the golden ball, and he just pulls the silver cord. A little bit, bell rings, he's out of school. He's like, what? This is great. So then he leaves class.
Where is
and
this going?
he's like, this is amazing. And so the next day, same thing happens. And so he keeps, yanking the cord. And then he said, you know what? Why am I putting myself in this situation? I got to pull the cord during school. I got to pull it during my, homework. So he decides, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to pull this a bit more. And I'm going to go right to graduation. So he pulls it, boom, it's graduation day, yay! So he graduates with his class, and then he goes on to college, and when he gets to college, he's like, shoot, this is the same thing. It's just a bunch more work. And so every time that life begins to get difficult, he just pulls the silver cord and it fast forwards. He finds himself, he's married, and then his wife is pregnant and he just really wants that baby. He doesn't want to have to wait the 9 months. He pulls the cord, boom, the baby is born and he's got the baby in his arms. And then things get difficult in their marriage. They're fighting a lot, so he pulls the cord a little bit more so they can fast forward to the honeymoon period where it's not the fighting season. And so he keeps doing this every time life gets difficult, and life has its difficulties. And then he pulls the cord, his wife ends up getting sick, and he doesn't want to see her sick because it's heartbreaking to him, so he pulls the cord, and then he's standing at a gravestone, and it's her gravestone, and he realizes that all he did, because life is suffering, there is suffering in life, if you pull the cord every single time, you fast forward, and he realized he never experienced his life, he never experienced his time with his wife, like, the days that make up the long boringness, or the days that are the fighting, or the days that are the good, you lose everything if you just keep fast forwarding past it. Like, that is part of life. It is the journey. And so in this, it was kind of like all I could do in the end was wait, laying down with my fate. Like, there's times, or faith, there's times where you have to go through a hard time. You have to go through a difficulty. You have to survive after the death of someone that is very important to you, or after, some terrible loss, or some very, very painful experience. Like, you have to continue on through that, but you have to go through the pain of it. And so, like, to me, when he said all I could do in the end was wait, it was like waiting for, like, he couldn't fast forward it. He couldn't pull the silver cord and get past it. Like, he had to wait for time to kind of pass with it, laying down with his faith. Like, and that was what eliminated or alleviated some of his suffering, was that he had his faith. And so he knew that in the end, all things work together for the good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. So that's why I thought that they were probably a Christian band, was because that's what I got out of it. Mm-hmm. But then when I saw that it could have been fate, that completely changes the whole thing. Because now you're laying down with your fate, and that's like, you're not laying down, but I don't see how, but yeah, even if it was fate, you would still work, because just differently, because fate is, you don't really have a say in what's going to happen. It's going to happen to you anyway. So just lay down and wait for it to happen. And so let this alleviate some of your suffering, because you didn't necessarily put yourself here, and you're not the one that's going to get yourself out of this. Like, it's going to happen. I guess I like faith better.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that, there's laying down and accepting your fate is kind of this, like, quietest, sort of just passive, let life happen to you, almost nihilistic type of thing. or I mean, I think theologically you can, hold on, he just talked about the song Alleviate. Let's see if he says it's fate or faith. Hold on.
It's the most uplifting and catchy song we've ever done. And it's too much for some. I love it personally. I've always been a
said it was uplifting.
Cheesiness and catchiness, and for me it's not cheesy. I love the song very much, and it's important. That carries an important message for me. It's kind of has more hope in it. You know, it's about when you're struggling a lot with mental health issues, and once you reach that point that you know there is nothing you can do about it, but you just accept it and wait for it to pass and become better, and it always does, you know. So the song has a lot of hope in it, and which is why for me it's a very important song on the album.
Oh.
I didn't say.
Okay, well, based on that, it seems like faith is a better thing than fate, because he's saying it's positive, it's hopeful, it's uplifting.
Yeah.
So faith kind of goes along better with that than fate, I think.
Mm-hmm. So do you find this, like, when you go through, because he's talking about mental health issues and stuff like that, like, not even necessarily the stuff that I was talking about, like, does that help you, like, when you have, like, bouts of depression or something, does that help you to just say, you're, like, kind of writing, like, let me just use my example and then I'll kind of bounce it back to you. Like, when I was delivering Selah and also with Orion, I kept, like, picturing that I was, like, riding a wave, so, like, the pain of the contraction would, like, come up, and it was like, oh my gosh, but I just kept thinking, you're just riding a wave, it's going to come down, it's not going to stay in this intense pain. So is it like that with your depression? Do you kind of feel like you're going to kind of ride it out in a sense, and it's going to lift?
I just handle it kind of the way you handle a selection, you know, where it's like, whatever's happening now, it sucks, it's the worst thing in the world, but it's going to end eventually. Mm-hmm. You're going to stop running eventually. You're going to stop doing a push-up eventually. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't be out here forever doing this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, like, you just learn to wait it out, you know, and so...
So kind of, yeah.
I've been in the pattern for all my life, so it's like, oh, I know, like, and then the other thing about me is, like, because you can have a mental health issue, but also be depressed because of an actual experience. Mm-hmm. It's like, so if somebody you love dies, you know, it's you know, I don't tell myself, well, it's just a depression, it'll pass. Yeah. So sometimes, you know, I just have to make the dichotomy of, like, am I actually sad about something, or is this just a condition? Mm-hmm. You know, and then I kind of do a little inventory and go, well, no, I'm not sad about that, I'm not sad about that, and there's really nothing. Okay, then it's just a condition, it'll pass at some point. Mm-hmm. But then there's other times you have to be honest with yourself and go, no, there's stuff that's bothering me. Mm-hmm. And whether or not I was, you know, I had this mental condition, it would still, it would bother any other person. So that you approach a little bit different, because you have to be a little bit more proactive about it, because you've got to actually address the issue. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whereas in the other thing, you can kind of just basically say, no, I'll just wait it out. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's good song. It's pretty brave to be that uplifting or whatever for a metal band, especially a band named LEPROUS. I don't know. For some reason, I thought they were like a death metal, mega dark.
Really surprised me. I loved it, though. It was hopeful to me. And it was very... I'm sorry. Go ahead. I keep interrupting you.
Well, no. It definitely... you know, he mentioned the cheese. And I could definitely see a person saying, oh, yeah, that's cheesy. But... you know, if you've ever been through those situations and you've ever had to make a lifestyle out of it, then you're not necessarily gonna look at it that way. Mm-hmm. You know, but for people who always are so used to converting their negative feelings into anger so that they can feel power instead of weakness, then they're probably gonna say that that's cheese. Yeah. You know, and maybe I'm overanalyzing. Some people might not just like that style, and that's okay too. You know, like, there's a whole bunch of reasons people like and dislike stuff, but I thought it was it's a brave thing to go as high as he did toward the end.
I loved it. I
just get the feeling that these guys are normally a pretty dark band, and so this seemed to be a little bit of a divergence. But who requested this song?
This is Scott. Yeah.
I feel like we've talked to Scott before.
Yes, we have.
All right, what did you get the song?
It was a 9.8 for me.
9.8. I'd give it a solid 9.2.
It was very helpful.
Yeah, Brave guy. Brave guy. There
Shout
you
out
go.
to Scott.
Shout out to Scott. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.